Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Roma Press podcast. We hope you are doing well. Generally, Andy and I do not record immediately after results, but this time we are breaking that rule. Before we get into all the fun, very quickly, a thank you to our newest patron over at Patreon, Anthony Lovari. Anthony, thank you for your support. And of course, to all of our other wonderful patrons who make this possible. If you would like to join the chaos that is currently ensuing in the group chat at the moment, the usual post-match bickering and fighting going on. If you want to join that and you don't have enough depression in your life, you can go to patreon.com/RomaPress. If not, make sure you at least go to our YouTube, youtube.com/ISRomaPress.
No,
And
I have to correct you on that, John. It's /at Roma Press. It's
slash at IS Roma Press
exactly.
on YouTube. And thank you all for the wonderful feedback. I'm trying to maintain some semblance of gratitude and positivity at the moment, but the response that we've gotten on the first two videos, Andy, has been
Like someone saying that you look like the grown-up kid from the Up movie.
yeah. I told him, this guy made a good comment in the first videos, making fun of my baby face, which was funny. It made me laugh. I expect better in this one. If I
Hopefully
remember
he's got more.
correctly,
Hopefully he's got more, and
well,
hopefully we get some good word from our good friend Tor, which we haven't heard
yeah,
from in a
well,
long while,
both
and
of those
who actually
characters are.
subscribed as a patron to the show. So good on him.
He did, and I didn't really get it because both of the main characters in Up are short, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, yes,
I'm
but the
just.
kid is a kid. You know, you are the grown-up version of this
I'm
sweet
just under
little.
2 meters tall. You're tall as well. I mean, the camera doesn't do us justice. I mean, if I stood up, I am
Yes.
literally. I'm. That's what when our good friend Giovanni called me Osama bin Laden. I didn't realize it equated in more than one facet with all the children and recording videos from what is essentially a bunker.
Was Osama bin Laden also 2 meters tall? I'm not sure. Let me. These are the important questions.
Wasn't he over 2 meters tall? Hold on.
No, come on,
As
man.
you
They
can
would
see,
have. Oh
we're
wow,
trying.
195, 6 feet 4. Wow, that's pretty good. That's
So I was right. He's just under 2 meters tall.
just under
So
two. Wow, that's. I mean, come on. And then it's he was an easy target to begin with. You know, I mean.
well, the thing too, I didn't realize how many when he called me that. I thought it was just in relation to the children, but recording in bunkers, going
Pretty
country
much,
to
yeah.
country, it kind of. It fits better than I probably would have been comfortable with. But here we are talking of terrorism, which is essentially akin to what we were treated in the final 5 minutes. Roma, the first 16 minutes, if you didn't watch the match, just don't, do not.
Yeah.
Because if we had to make like a tier list of torture, torture, physical, mental, emotional torture, those 60 minutes probably would have been just under. I don't know, things I find torturous. Adults who are overly excited by Disney or something. The first 60 minutes of that match between Roma and Torino would have been just below that. Those first 60 minutes, and I wrote this down because, of course, we do a lot of research here, wherein I mean we do no research before we speak, and we do not talk about what we are going to discuss before the episodes. I just click record. The combined XG between Torino Roma at the 60th minute was 0.68. So that should tell you all you need to know. And I believe it was Lukaku who got that first chance. Was that? I'm trying to recall. Maybe it was Lukaku. I can't recall right away.
I
But
mean, there was the post, yeah.
that one, yeah, that probably was the first real chance of the entire match, if I'm trying to think of it. But I mean, that first half was brutal. Brutal. Nothing happened. Boring football. Very ineffective football. And then, I mean, Lukaku, man, I just a quintessential Romelu Lukaku goal, first off. And there is something about him. Now, as people can probably tell by the camera, I do not have the figure of Peter Crouch. I am more broad-shouldered. So I will never be. When I was playing football growing up, I couldn't do like Aubameyang. After he scores a goal, it does a front flip, or do some of the things that he does on the pitch. I had to play. Like when you're
What
when you're
were you?
playing against some.
What were you? Were you?
Well, somebody small. You know what that goal reminded me of, and I love it as somebody who taller and broad-shouldered like that. It reminded me when you were a child and you were playing somebody much younger than yourself, and all you would do is just back them down in basketball, go inside to the
Yeah.
post, and I love that goal. I love that Lukaku is able to shield the defender. I mean, you look at his level and you compare it to the rest of Roma, and the level that he possesses, along with Paulo Dybala. I don't know whether to laugh or cry, Andy, because those two, compared to the other 9 that play on the pitch with them simultaneously, I just I pray that they do not, out of frustration, begin smacking everybody on the side of the head, all 9 that inhabit the pitch with them, because I look at just some of the things he is able to do, and his level is. I tweeted it out. He's just of another category. This guy, he's of another category that Roma does not possess. Players they typically do not possess, just like we saw in last season with Paulo Dybala. Um, he and Paulo Dybala are just are in another category, and unfortunately, it does show. I think it
Mhm.
is very clear and obvious, far too often than we would be okay with. And I think the goal at the end with Duvan Zapata, who, by the way, was anybody, if there was going to be an equalizer, was anybody else going to score it?
Of
It was
course,
always.
man, of course. Yeah.
It was always going to be him. The only thing that was missing today was Costas Manolas getting just a bulldozed into the ground with it flattened, as if he were ran over by a bulldozer
Well,
on a
that's a
construction site.
throwback right there. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Costas
my
Manolas just
gosh.
getting wiped off the face of the earth
For
by Duvan Zapata
94 minutes, he did it to him.
each and every time. Yes.
Right. So it was only going to be Zapata today. If Roma were going to draw, and you were going to tell me before the match the score was going to be 1-1, I probably would have bet my entire life that these two guys that scored the goals would be the ones to score. So the emotional roller coaster that we are treated to sucks. Now, you and I have been through this again far more than we are probably willing to admit.
Countless
So
times. This is not exactly what we
yeah.
want to do on a Sunday evening.
No, no, no. And two, it is so deflating to go from victory and
But I told you, somebody even tagged us and said this is exactly what John and Andy warned us against. Like this was the kind of game that you could have taken home. Imagine what a sweet, sweet win this would have been with that one goal by Romelu
exactly.
Lukaku. This is what I envisioned. The footballing gods told me this in my sleep that this could be a possibility, but instead at the
Yes.
end, Roma, as always, they let it
Mm.
slip away from them. It's time and time again. Roma have that one chance, and they are unable to hold on to it. Imagine what a great feeling it would have been to go from that emphatic victory against Empoli, 7 goals, 0 conceded. You win in Sheriff, you go back to Italy, you play against a tough Torino side, and you're able to get away with a clean sheet and 1 goal by Romelu Lukaku, who therefore scores in 3 consecutive games for you. No. Roma, instead, they went out of their way to play shitty. They lose their man. And the man obviously is Duvan Zapata. And Duvan Zapata, like clockwork, he scores.
On a set piece too, where just from that distance, in that situation, I have such a a difficult time accepting that because simply by way of the movement of the players, they're going to be headed towards the goal. To lose your man in that situation to me is unforgivable, unforgivable, particularly in that moment. And the thing that just it burns me even more. What did we see coming into this? We saw Lazio drop points. We saw Napoli drop points.
Yep.
Um, we saw Juve dropped points.
Yes.
You had an opportunity to gain ground, make up for your mistakes in the first 3 rounds,
Yep.
and the line is so thin. It is so thin between 3 points and a draw. It is so difficult for me to accept this because when I say the level between a guy like Lukaku, Dybala, and the rest, it's these things. One mistake costs you. It costs you just that one thing. Up until that point, Roma defensively, I thought they were flawless. Flawless. They did.
Ndika,
Zapata,
one of the best performers of the
superb.
night.
So I thought he was fantastic indeed. Up until that point, I can't recall a single clear cut opportunity of Torino. Juric, again, we said this before the match. You know how Torino are going to play. So the first half really did not surprise me much. I was not shocked that there was very little between the sides. You're not going to get a lot of scoring opportunities, but when you face a team like of Ivan Juric,
No.
it's going to come down to the mistakes and who of the stronger players can take advantage. And it looks like Roma were going to come out on top of that. I watched that goal, that set piece goal at the end there, and it is really sort of just the embodiment of Roma, just not being able to maintain the character, the mentality of something for all 90 minutes. You are just that close, that close, that
Yeah.
close to 3 points,
Yeah.
to taking advantage of all of these teams coming into this,
And
dropping points.
how many times have we seen this over the years? And I'm not even I'm getting, flashback PTSD flashbacks to, I mean, things that happened over 8, 9 years ago. So it's something that we cannot seem to get rid of.
Yes,
It's something that I can list countless times across the years that we've been doing this podcast. Where you
right.
last year it happened with Sassuolo. The time
Yes,
when Mourinho lost his
yes,
shit with Karsdorp, that's because he knew how vital it was. I wouldn't be surprised if he loses his shit in the dressing room tonight, because unfortunately the team didn't respond the way a team that is in a position to win a very
right.
difficult game, a game that was not for granted. The first half, forget
Mm,
about it. This was for the taking. This was it. You had that
it
one
was.
chance, one goal. You scored, you pack it up, you park the bus, you stay focused, and then you go home and you have a win in your hands.
Yes, it is. I agree with you. I have this on right now. I'm waiting for Jose Mourinho to step to the to come do his post match interview. I just I again you see everything that Roma did well up until that point. Again, defensively, I thought they conceded close to nothing. You had you hit the post, but you did not let that rattle you, at least not terribly much so. And then on the goal of Lukaku, man, there's a lot to like on it. The pass of Dybala, Christensen. I know this is probably going to be like the. I'm sure some people will notice it, but man, just that extra effort by Christensen to get his foot onto the ball to Lukaku, and yes, it did take a slight deflection that was lucky, but you see Lukaku
Hmm.
shielding the defender. He turns out perfect finish. Everything about that was perfect, and you were able to that point play flawless defensively. You were able to play smart. I thought Roma, the way they conserved the energy, I thought they did very well. It's just so baffling to me that, you do all of these good things. What was the goal? 84, 85th.
Don't tell
You
me
do
about
all
it.
of these
It's
good
so
things,
depressing. Jesus Christ.
all of these good things, and at the, just like that, it's gone. It's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
It just disappears just like that. And man, just the thing that gets me most upset at this, and this is something we do talk a lot about on here. Just not the obvious. You have two less points in the table now. It's obvious. Duh. You did not take advantage of all of these teams fighting for the top four who dropped points. You lost an opportunity. I think of this from the mental point of view. I mean, just the mental blow and the mental uh, kick to the testicles that this is. I mean, you are going just from 3 points, hard fought, 1-0. You withstood all of the attack of Torino, who tried to throw everything at you. You faced a Torino side that are always known, or at least any Ivan Juric side, they are known for their intensity. You were able to deflect all of that and come out of there with 3 points, and it's just that 5 seconds of shutting off. That's all it takes to just flush all of that down the drain. It's into the bin now. And the mental juxtaposition of going into your next match in the midweek against Genoa off a draw versus a victory, it is so, so, so different. And the difficult part now is you, and this is something we have seen Roma suffer from season after season after season after season. It goes beyond players, it goes beyond manager, it goes beyond everything, it goes beyond president of the club. It is putting this moment behind them, because they're going to have to do it now. You cannot allow this to linger into the next match against Genoa, because if you drop points there, now we're looking at an issue, because you're going to have, it would be one victory, right? If you were not to beat Genoa, you would only have one victory through 6 matches, right? Because you would have one win, two, and then 3 draws, if I'm not mistaken. Well, if you were to
Correct.
draw
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so this is already, we're talking match day 6, or at least going into match day 6, a very delicate period, and it didn't have to be. Coming into this match against Genoa, you could have been flying high. You would have had, as you said, Romelu Lukaku scoring in 3 straight matches. You would have kept a clean sheet. You would have had your second consecutive league victory. You would also have been getting back, well, at least according to his agent, Lorenzo Pellegrini, probably will be back for Genoa. You would have had nothing but positivity going into that. You would have had zero things, zero concerns, zero regrets weighing on your mind in that moment. And now it's just it's a completely different match. It had the match against Genoa now has a completely different complexion coming into it, and that's the part that just, it burns me. It burns me because it didn't have to be that way. It didn't have to be that way.
It's like always, it's the same old story of Roma working really hard for something, and sometimes they have these episodes where they get lucky. They get lucky. In this
Mm,
case, I mean, it's luck. It's Lukaku being Lukaku. It's the main reason why you signed him, but it's Roma working hard for something and then just not knowing what to do with that luck. They seem to be so unfamiliar with the whole
mm,
process of actually getting a goal that allows you to hope in this kind of victory. I mean, that's why I said Sassuolo last season, because it's the first occurrence in my mind that, I mean, where it's so evident that the team had it. They had it, and then they lose it. And then it comes back to haunt you. It comes back to haunt you at the end of the season. It also comes back to haunt you in the next game, where you have to immediately react to that, because, as you say, you're looking at Genoa, and you're looking at a team like Genoa, who are extremely determined this year. They've made some investments. They're good. Alberto Gilardino's got them. exactly where he wants them to be, and they're not happy. They're not happy after their recent performances. They want to do well. Uh, you are obviously going to be tired. You played against Sheriff midweek a few days
Yes.
ago, so when you're looking at that physical side, which obviously is going to take an impact because you're playing so many games in so little time, you have to rely on that mental side. And if you do something like this, so stupid, where this perfect opportunity present itself to you, and with minutes to go, you are unable to hold on to it, then you're not really showing me that you're a team that deserves to be up there. And I'm tired of looking at Roma that way, because as I keep telling you, these are things that I don't even have to think back on in these last 2 years with Mourinho. These are things that I can track back to the times of Eusebio Di Francesco, the times of Rudi Garcia. I mean, these are things that I've seen so many times that is why it's the only reason why I'm able to come on here right after the match and not have a mental crisis, because it's something that I've gotten used to. I'm pretty sure that you've also gotten used to it, where it's just,
Right.
it's a shame, but you have to move on, because at the end of the day, this is Roma. And the day that they learn to take advantage of these situations, that's when we'll know that this is a team that is actually ready to compete for the things they say they want to compete for. Because you're never going to go far if your mentality is, well, we want to achieve top four, but then the perfect chance present itself and
Right.
we just squander it. We squander it and we let it go, and then 3 days from now we're going to up against a difficult team, a difficult setting, um, just and a team that is also looking to make points. You're looking to make points. What are your reassurances? It's always going to be Lukaku and Dybala, but I mean, there has to be something more than that, and I think that's the biggest
Right.
pain.
And therein lies really the biggest mystery of this Roma, because beyond Paulo Dybala, beyond Lukaku, you have very, very few guarantees in this team in terms of performance. I mean, I'm trying to go 1 through 11, beyond Paulo Dybala, beyond Lukaku. I mean, was there? I thought Ndikan was good. I thought I'm trying to think in midfield if anyone was really. I thought Paredes was okay. I mean, nobody really shined, and I suppose that's really the issue. Who can you count on with 100% certainty beyond those two? That's the difficulty um, about this team. And this match against Genoa, man, I have to tell you and admit that I am petrified, because it does have, and I think I said this. This would be the second time where I am worried about the potential of a complete and total capitulation already so early into the season, where we have to put up with the usual stuff from the ambiente, where you hear the radios talking about this, talking about that, Jose Mourinho this, Jose Mourinho that. And I can just feel it in my bones coming. Should something go wrong against Genoa, I don't know. The difficulty too in all of this is, yes, it is still early in the season. If we do want to take this from a glass being half full, if you look at the rivals, I mean, Lazio are playing terrible. I
No,
don't know if you watch
everybody's playing terrible except for Inter. It's the
everyone.
same thing as
Inter,
last year,
terrible. Yes,
minus
yes.
Napoli. Like it's the same situation, except Napoli are doing pretty
Yeah,
bad due to Rudi Garcia, and
yeah.
Inter are
Rudy
just
is on.
steamrolling everybody
He
regardless of the circumstances.
our friend Rudy is ahead of schedule with that one. I thought he would be gone by
Yeah.
by February, but it may come before that. Did you see the thing? That I don't know
It's
if you
pretty
watch it
bad.
on the
It's pretty
zone.
bad. But let's
Yeah,
not look into their. I mean, it's. I don't want this to because this is going to be so. This is going to be a new low where like what are we?
yeah.
20 minutes into this podcast and we start to talk about Napoli. It's just
But really, I mean, if you think about it, if you want to look at the glass being half full, that is really the only thing that I can take
yes.
at the
The
moment.
the
The
glass
only
half
thing I can
full.
take is that, as you
The
said,
glass the glass half
beyond
full is that
Inter.
we're not reigning Serie A champions, and we're we're not
Well,
-7 to Inter. We're minus. I don't know. I don't want to look at the standings right now. So that's the only good
beyond
thing is we are not the reigning Serie A champions.
right, I beyond Inter. I mean, there are very obvious flaws. I think with every single big team in Serie A. I don't think that's exactly a groundbreaking observation. Um, but obviously, the concern the concern is Milan, Juve. These teams have won things, much bigger things than this Roma, and obviously, when it comes to just the mystery of not knowing what you are going to get. I mean, with Juve, there are guys that you can count on, in my opinion, that you have those champions that are able to do it consistently. With Roma, you have these just a bigger number of wild cards. I can't think of a better word. Just guy,
Mm.
I can't tell you what I'm going to get from one weekend to the next with certain guys, and that is where this is going to be an interesting stretch here because I hate Roma being in this trouble so early. Um, I do think maintaining balance when we are coming. This is why, especially recording immediately after a match, I am not a huge fan of. But
Sucks.
it sucks. But who cares? I mean,
It's
I
what
either
the
do this
people
here.
want, so
Yeah,
let's
well,
give
we
the
do it
people
here,
what they
or
want.
I force everybody to go to like Radio Vicenza and listen to me on
There
a
you go.
satellite
That's
radio or something. Nobody wants to listen to that. But in all seriousness, I do think finding balance and maintaining calm at this moment after you concede a goal like that, it's very difficult to take a breath and think clearly, level headed. It's always uh, when you lose that way or lose when you drop points in that manner. You're going to be emotional because it comes at such a late stretch. You were so close to getting all 3 points. Maintaining balance is very difficult, but I do think that we do have to just step back. I mean, I'm looking at our Patreon group chat right now, man. I mean, you would think that Roma were
yeah.
relegated to Serie B tonight.
Yeah.
Um, it's okay now. Again, the only positivity, or not the only positivity, but the
Well,
thing I
I'm
am
looking
trying
at it
to.
now. I got 300 unread messages, and the last time I checked, it was 20 minutes ago. So
Oof, well,
yes.
patreon.com/RomaPress to join in on the fun. But the only thing I can take from this is that other teams are going through this. So I don't know what else I'm supposed to hang my hopes on because of it. That is really the only thing. That and this team is still learning to play together. Beyond that, maybe you have something that I haven't
No,
thought of.
I
But
mean, I just think, listen, I mean, people live this sport any way they want. So I just think,
right,
obviously, at some point they'll get it right. They'll figure it out. I mean, just the same way Napoli will figure it out. At the end of the day,
right, correct,
that's a
correct.
team that won a scudetto last year with what 20 points of differential between the other one between the runners up. So um what Rudy Garcia, for example, is doing now is just good old terrorism. But the moment that they decide to get rid of good old Rui, they will understand that that's the same exact team with the same exact world star players. I mean, they have Quara, they have Osimhen, they have Zielinski, they have Lobotka. It's the same squad that won the
Right,
Scudetto
right.
a few months ago. So the same way with Roma, there are new players, yes, but Romelu Lukaku, who's a new player, He's just scored in 3 consecutive games. He looks like he's feeling good. You don't have that
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, right.
Evan Dika had a good game, and I mean he's been called
He was
upon since
superb.
Chris Smalling
Yeah.
was out. So at the end of the day, these are professionals. They'll figure it out. I'm not worried. I see people say, "Well, one of our patrons is already wrote the information that that Roma in the year that they almost were relegated, they also scored the same number of points in the same number of match days. Um, I don't think we are there, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But it's what obviously pain is
That's worse
painful.
than the people like asking me, "Who do you think Roma
Yes,
will purchase in the winter after the
it is
first
worse when
match
you
day?" Give
somehow
me a. Are you
when you're
kidding
somehow
me?
yes
Are
yeah
you
when you're
sick? My gosh.
when you're somehow able to like come
Come
up
on,
with like
man.
the worst statistic. It's
Do you not? I mean, I consider myself a cynic, but I can't even. If I start thinking that way, I mean, I'll find the nearest window and just throw myself out of it. I mean, come on. It's round five. It's round
yeah.
five. It is
Yeah.
round
No,
five.
and as bad as Roma have looked, and they have looked pretty bad. Obviously, we all seem to have come down from the high of the Empoli result.
Yeah, that lasted long. Yeah,
That
that
lasted
was a
long,
nice 5 days.
but I think that should hint to something. Like this is not hopeless. Like there is no reason to come up with hopeless scenarios. Um, Ultimately, they'll find a way to figure this thing out. It's disheartening to see that the team under some aspects makes the same mistakes over and over again. Um, Not really encouraging signs when you look at how this team handles these moments of high pressure, and also possible gratification in the form of an unexpected win that comes late in the game, and you're somehow able to look at the prospect of potentially running away from Torino with 3 points in your hands, while Lazio, Napoli, and Juve have all dropped points. Roma should not be the team that I mean, three almost going into Mourinho's third season. They shouldn't be in this
Mm.
situation. They should be able already to do it, at least on this stage, against a Torino side that as hard as they fought, they didn't show also anything honestly that is worth remembering tonight for. So I don't know. It does. That's the one thing that bothers me is that obviously this team has potential. The problem is that they keep squandering, like they squandered tonight's result. So we're looking at a must-win game against Genoa. It feels like this is the 20th time we're
Mm.
saying it's a must-win, and it's only been 1 month of the league. So not exactly encouraging signs, but whatever. I mean, it's
No,
not. Let's not think about relegation. Let's think about
no.
just
Come
improving
on,
game by
man.
game.
I mean, Inter barely got past an Empoli side. I don't know if you saw the goal of Di Marco, but it took a wonder goal for Inter to defeat the team that Roma beat 7-0 one weekend ago. Just to see I just saw that message about the relegation thing, man. If this is the thing that is getting you to that level, I mean, you better uh, put on your seatbelt, because if you're getting to that level from this, I have bad news for you. That the odds of it being worse at some point over the next year, probably very high. So if you are already that down after five rounds of Serie A, I fear what you look like in February, or if you even make it to March. Listen, I know it is always easy to come on, and we can make it sound like, for anybody who does not listen to the Teleradio Stadio after the matches, it's basically your old uncle that goes on Facebook and types his posts in all
Or
caps. It's
records
basically
himself live without realizing that he's recording himself live.
With the phone pointed up to the ceiling. Um, it would be easy to come on and complain and yell and scream, but I really do think, and it's easy to say this at certain points in the season, and I don't know, try and sound like the fake mature adult in the room, but truly, I we can't panic now. I mean, we can't do it now. I mean, there's no option. You can't panic right now because we have to say that till February. I mean, we are not even
No, but
in
also,
October
what are
yet.
you what are you panicking? What are you gonna do? What are your
Well, yeah,
options?
that's exactly what I'm
I
saying.
want to
I
know
mean, what do
what
you?
are the options here? Are
There's
we
people
talking
talking about
about
sacking Jose Mourinho. Come
changing
on, guys.
manager, changing
Come on, yeah, for
players?
who? Yeah, you want Claudio Ranieri? Come on, man.
No,
I
no,
mean, give me
Fabio
a.
Ranieri is busy. That's the only
Well, yeah,
reason.
he's busy with Cagliari. Well, he
No,
might be getting
I
sacked,
already
but
I see people. Well, I mean, but that's the
come
exact.
on,
You
man.
know,
We're
you
talking
have
about
no.
changing a manager to Jose Mourinho
There
for
are
you want. Come
there
on,
are no
stop this.
options. You know, we're
Enough,
not.
enough,
You know,
enough.
you haven't gone this far this way because you're gonna all of a sudden change it 5 games into the new
Right,
season. You know,
right,
so there is no options. You're looking at the only option it is to win the next game. That's it. You know,
uh, right,
that's to get a result that allows you to then look forward to other games, play with some kind of confidence, because right now you will have to build up the confidence that you lost by conceding that set piece. Um,
right.
that's it, because the all the confidence that you built up against Empoli, against Sheriff, now the levels have dropped. You have to look back on again trying to come up with a really hard fought win against Genoa, and it's going to be far from easy, but it's the only way to you can you know it's the only way to change the situation. There is no option of
Right.
changing managers. There's no option of changing
Yeah,
players. As bad
we're
as you
talking
dislike
of that.
certain
Come on.
players, it's impossible. So you have to get used to the fact that the season is long. There are still, I believe, what 36 33 games left, 34. So that's it's not gonna end soon.
I
So
mean, we're
better
talking of
strap in.
guys to get during the transfer window. I can't do this.
Is Marcos
No.
Leonardo going to solve our problems?
Yeah. Come on, man. Like
This is going to be on the next
there,
episode. I bet if Genoa doesn't go well, this is the
there,
next topic.
there really are no options. You just beat Genoa, and that's it. If every if every situation that was difficult like this turned into a thing where you question the manager, where we question about who we're going to acquire and a transfer win, it's not October. I can't do the math in my head, but 90 days away, 75 days away, I don't know. Are you kidding me? We can't talk about the guys we're going to get in January. Let's be serious now. Let's be serious. No player you are going to get in January is going to change what happened tonight. I don't understand that. I don't understand that sort of mentality. And by the way, what is changing a manager going to do? How is that going to change tonight? That doesn't fix things. That does not fix things. For me,
Maybe maybe on Twitter it fixes things. Unfortunately, it doesn't. This is real life. It doesn't work that way. Results. These results. I mean, I swear to God, I'm doing this. It's almost midnight over here. It's not exactly the greatest the greatest moment of my life right now, but it's also not the worst. Like it's I've seen these things before. Roma have come back from these things. Is
yes.
it good? Is it nice to see them concede this way after getting that goal in such a hard fought fashion? No, obviously. I mean, it's just as bad as exactly the game against Sassuolo that we all remember
Mm,
last season for, and that was disappointing. And it always seems like there is this one game where you do it, and perhaps that's the only main disappointing thing. It's not even the performances themselves; it's that attitude, that the slip in focus that then makes not only the game more difficult, not only the result of the game more difficult, but the rest of the schedule more difficult. You're looking at a schedule that should have been a cakewalk. It's not a cakewalk. We all know it
right.
now. I hope everyone knows that before you jump to conclusions and you see these teams and you say, well, that's easy. No, it's not how it works. Not when you're Roma, not when it's a Serie A season where all the smaller sides are also really, I mean, fighting tooth and nail. So You look at what Lecce are doing.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable. So
that
that's
that
the only
with the
thing.
manager who,
The
yeah,
only thing that Roma can change is what is in their power. In their power, it's not about changing managers. It's not in their power to change players. The transfer window is closed. So the only
right.
thing you can do is pick up the good things, but also, I mean, focus. Why? Why did you concede that goal? You're a team that has been to two European finals. You've played in games where you could not concede any more goals. You've played in games where the stakes were extremely high. What happened now? Why? Why this result?
100%. And the thing I just find incredibly fascinating, and because the zone, they just replayed their interview with Ivan Juric. The timing, even the timing, can have such a mental the juxtaposition as to how Ivan Juric feels right now compared to Roma. The psychological aspect of football fascinates me. He just went on in his post match interview and he said, "We played a fantastic match, incredible performance."
Yeah, he said
And you compare
excellent match. It was a shame. It would have been a shame if we had lost it.
compare the mood to what he feels.
Well,
Two teams there.
Jose Mourinho said that he's sad for the result,
He's not.
but it was
Yes,
a good overall. It was a good game from his men. So
he's not getting down. But what I am saying is more so how we feel.
yeah, yeah, yeah. How we feel? Yeah,
If that
we
were
enjoy.
Roma,
It's the
even if
end.
Roma have gotten a draw and they had pulled it out at the 85th minute, probably, or you and I are not talking as if this is a funeral. Where yeah, we would probably be disappointed you don't have a victory, but we at least are speaking with a bit more enthusiasm.
Hmm.
Instead, we are, it is as if we are wearing all black. So again, I just think this is one of those moments where after you sleep on it, you feel much better in the morning. It sucks. And now you only have one choice. You already said it. There's nothing about changing manager, new play. Nothing will get you out of this. There's only one way to get out of this, and that is to win. So if you beat Genoa, it's just we put all of this crap behind us, and you just need to go
Yeah,
on a run
yeah.
in the league.
Roma.
That's it.
It's always exactly. It's all in Roma's hands. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
In their hands. It's not. We're not talking about depending on some other team's luck. Roma.
Right.
It's in their hands to change, whether it's mentality, whether it's tactics, whether it's a mix of both, whether it's personnel. I don't know. The problem is you had a one goal lead. You should have kept it. Instead, you let it slip away from you in a situation that a team with this kind of maturity that we want to believe Roma possess after these two European finals, a team like that, in that instance, should not be letting that goal in. And that's it.
Right.
After all, this is again, it's football. It's simple. It's not science. You win by scoring more than your opponent. Roma were unable to do it to Torino tonight. It would have been a different position in the standings. It would have been a
Yes.
different outlook on the game against Genoa. It would have been a different season. At the end of the season, you're going to look back on it and you're going to think, um, who knows? We'll see. But it's not, the world hasn't ended. Uh, Roma aren't all of a sudden the worst team of all time. They're not a perfect team. They got flaws, but it's up to them to figure things out, and hopefully they do it as quickly as possible. Because I can't stand to come on here again to rant for 40 minutes trying to um, come up with some kind of positive outlook on this whole situation, because then I get called names, and people say that we're all trying to feel to make people feel better about this team when this team is hopeless. But
Well, if
it's
I don't know if you just checked the group chat, but somebody said when was the last time we had 5 or fewer points through our first 5 matches, and somebody said 2000, 2001 season. Now, because you and I we
That's
do
how
our
the
research.
psychological thing happens, you know. It's what they do. It's what they do. It's the thing. It's either you go from relegation to Scudetto. It's you can't, you know. This is the Roma fan,
Well,
the
this
classic
is
Roma
the
fan,
psychological mentality part of football that just fascinates me. You have two sets of different people that saw the exact same match, the exact same result.
and
One
they
of them
come
is
here.
talking relegation. The other one is saying, "Oh, well, the last time we had this few points, we won the Scudetto." So I guess the way the way you will view this is just your general outlook on life in general, not necessarily strictly related to football. Um, I am a I myself am a pessimist, but by no means am I even considering
Oh
relegation.
no,
And
I don't know.
you would
I've seen what people in our group chat write, and I don't think that compared to most patrons, you're a pessimist.
no, but listen, it's 5 rounds, as you said. There's a lot more football to be
It's 5
played.
rounds, and, you know, I'm not saying that these 5 rounds don't mean anything. Like, you know, I'm
Right,
not
right.
downplaying the importance of 5 games. Obviously, they're important. They count toward the final total points for the season. But it's there's still more to play, and there's more things that can go wrong for other teams than there are more things that can go right for you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I just made the mistake of looking at what the expected goals XG of Roma was. So I'm not even going to say it. If you want to torture
It
yourself
was
before falling, it's
3.78, something like that.
just under 4. Buonanotte. No, in all seriousness, though, it balance. That's the only
Balance.
way.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
end it
fine.
with that balance. All right. Until next time. Ciao.
Ciao.